Sioux Empire United Way meets the needs within our community by funding more than 80 different services. We help children, vulnerable adults, and people in crisis through a variety of services. Good happens across our community every day through United Way funded programs, and that is especially true now as our community handles the impact of COVID-19. Today, we have joining us is Janet from the Helpline Center. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
So why don't you go ahead and start off with telling us a little bit more about what you guys do. I'm sure there are a few folks here who've heard of you at least once or twice during all of this.
Sure. Yeah, the Helpline Center, we're a nonprofit organization that has like three core service areas. The first one being our 211 helpline, which has been widely promoted during the COVID response. And so we answer calls 24 hours a day, provide information, resources, and just kind of listening support for our people who call us. Then we also do our Volunteer Connections program, which connects people who want to volunteer with those nonprofits that need volunteers. And then our suicide and crisis support. We have a 24/7 suicide crisis line, and we do support groups for families, friends who have lost loved ones to suicide, and then suicide prevention trainings.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys are very busy all day.
Yes, yes, we are. Yes, in the past, since March 10th, whenever the first positive case was, we have been super busy. Yeah.
Yes, most definitely. So today we want to learn a little bit more about your outreach program. Will you tell us more about that?
Sure. The Outreach Support Program is one of our relatively newer programs. It's been in existence for just the past several years, but really came into its own these past couple of months with our older adults. So the program, what it does is it provides support phone calls for our older adults who are at home. And the whole goal of the program is to keep our older adults living independently in their own home. It's better for them, they're happier, and it's better for the community. So we have people who are referred to us who are generally over the age of 65, who generally live alone, and they just might be struggling with, getting out, talking to people, interacting, perhaps a little depression or anxiety. So we do regular support phone calls with them. We will call them initially, do kind of an intake with them, learn more about them, and then we'll do calls every couple of days and then every couple of weeks over the next 3 to 4 months to kind of engage them and support them. So what has happened over the past couple of months, as we know, our older adult population, this has been really, really hard on them. They have been isolated in their homes by themselves. They can't really see folks because of risk of being exposed to the virus. So a lot of them don't have technology. A lot of them don't have internet, or they don't use like Zoom. So they just really don't see anybody. They don't get to go to church. And as one of our clients told us, she said that I don't get to see my grandkids, and so I don't get any hugs, which is so sad to hear. So Helen, who is our staff person who runs this program, she just is so warm and engaging with talking with people on the phone. So she's been helping them kind of talk through kind of their anxiety and the stress and just kind of the sadness that they feel in the isolation, and then helping them if they needed to figure out how to get groceries delivered to their house, how to make sure and do that. And then, we've kind of increased the number of times we do the outreach phone calls just to kind of help them get through this tough time. And then what we've noticed is that more of our clients and they're invited to call us back anytime. They can call 211 anytime for support. And so we've noticed more and more of our clients, current and former clients that we've had that have graduated from the program, have called us through 211 just to talk, just to, hear a voice and kind of just talk through like whatever the newest developments were with the virus, if there was something that happened from the state government or the federal government or locally, what that meant for them as a vulnerable adult, and how they needed to protect themselves, that kind of thing. So that's been really, really helpful for them. I think as we all have been through this, there's just been so many questions, and we just don't necessarily know the answers to all of them, but we do the best we can by just letting people know what the most current information is from like the CDC and helping them understand what that means for them and their families and, that kind of thing. So it just really worked out well that we had this program in place before COVID struck, and so happy that those older adults, it's a way to make them feel connected and give them that sense of connection and support.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's so great for them to at least have somebody to chat with. And some of them don't necessarily have family in town. Is that right? Is that kind of how some of them tend to find you and seek out the service?
That is so true. We have a lot of folks that live by themselves. They're perhaps they had been married, but their spouse maybe has passed away. And then their adult children are living in other parts of the country. And of course, people haven't been able to travel during this time. And so they might get phone calls from their children, but they don't get to see them very often. So just having another person who's here in town and can kind of talk through what's happening in Sioux Falls or the Sioux Empire has really been good for them.
Awesome. And how many people do you typically serve, and has that increased at all through COVID?
Sure. Yeah, through a typical month, it's probably, we have, I suppose about a dozen people that we're reaching out to on a consistent basis. And I would say that has kind of changed. What's changed is we are just making more phone calls for those folks that are currently enrolled. And then our folks that had previously graduated, they're just calling us back more often, which is fine. And that's what we're here for. So we're, I think Helen told me the other day when I was visiting with her, that's our staff person, that she said, I think I just did 25 extra phone calls the past couple of weeks just with folks who were calling in, or she was calling, making extra phone calls to them. So that was nice to hear.
That's awesome. That's so great for her to take on this project and make all of them feel so loved especially during this time, but always.
Right.
So you talked about graduation. So how does somebody graduate out of this?
Sure. Usually it's after about 6 months that we're able to kind of like set them free, so to speak. But during that time, what we've done for them is provided more connections. Maybe we've got them re-engaged with volunteering in the community, so they have another way to connect with people. We may have gotten them connected with some healthcare providers. Sometimes they've been struggling with mental health or other physical health conditions, and they just haven't been able to reach out to those providers. And so we've provided those connections, so they're now, getting treatment, and that's helping them feel better on a lot of different levels. And then sometimes it's just, they just get the courage to get up and get out of their house more often. So they just aren't feeling like they need that supportive phone call as often. And what we do is we teach them about 211 so that they know any time of the day or night, if they have a question or a concern or they're worried, they can just dial 211 and then they can talk with the staff that answer the phone. And so they feel like they have a sense of security, so they can reach back out if they need to after they're done with the program.
Awesome. That's so great. So one final question I have is, talk to us about what you want the community to know in general about the Helpline Center as we continue to go forward.
I think it's important just people know we're here for everybody. We're here 24 hours a day. So it doesn't matter if you have a question about COVID or a question about financial assistance or you need to find a support group, we're here for you. So any time of the day or night, please reach out. We want to talk to you. We want to help you. And then also, I haven't talked a lot about the volunteering part of what we do, connecting people to volunteer opportunities. We've certainly been doing that during this COVID time. Those volunteer opportunities have looked a little different because a lot of our nonprofits have changed their volunteer programs during this time, but still a huge need for people to reach out and help others, especially with our food distribution, volunteer programs. So if people want to give back, please just call 211 and we'll find some ways to do that.
Awesome. Is there anything else that we should know about the Helpline Center or any of your programs?
I can't think of anything. I think we did a nice job just giving some highlights to a few of them.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us and talking with us about your programs and all that you guys have been able to do, especially during this time of our social distancing and during this pandemic. So
You're very welcome. Happy to be here.
Awesome. We'll chat with you again soon.